All right, people, I know all the excitement is with the Bitcoin pumping all-time high and all that other stuff, but I've done a lot of videos about that. So we're going to talk a couple more things, including a Darknet scam and how the Supreme Court, not just any court, but the Supreme Court that sits on top of all the courts, could actually take power away from the SEC of crypto, and that might be bad days for Gary Gensler, and we'll talk about the mighty Do Kwon as well. So, let's actually get to the Supreme Court. There's two cases before the Supreme Court that could rip power away from the SEC. And I don't really know if there's been any of these cases that's been adjudicated in the Supreme Court before. So, Gary Gensler obviously not too happy about this. And Gary Gensler is saying some things to keep in mind if you're considering investing in crypto assets. This is on Twitter. Those offering crypto asset investment services may not be complying with applicable law, including federal securities laws. Investors in crypto's asset securities should understand that they may be deprived of key info and other important protections in connection with their investment. I think most of us know exactly that we don't have much protections, and we're fine with not having the protections. So Gary Gensler can stop pretending. The people that want the protections, they can buy the ETF. We don't really care about the rest of the stuff. But fortunately, the US government is not just made up of regulatory agencies, and a lot of lawmakers do not share Master Gensler's views. Of course, it's been very uncertain and shaky, and there's been a lot of uncertainty, which is why the market has not been able to mature and why it hasn't really been able to take form in the United States. The two cases before the Supreme Court that we need to look at are called Loper versus Raimondo and Relentless Incorporated versus the U.S. Department of Commerce. And the SCOTUS, or the Supreme Court of the United States, that's what SCOTUS stands for, has both issues saying that it potentially clarifying the extent of U.S. federal agencies' use of their own discretion in interpretation of the law instead of what Congress has expressly stated. And that's very important, the use of their own discretion. Let me tell you something, guys. With crypto, the SEC uses a lot of their own discretion. And if the Supreme Court says we're supreme and bonks them over the head saying you can't do that anymore, that might be a lot of trouble for Gary Gensler. The first case, the Loper case, exemplifies the practical consequences of Chevron deference, where a long-standing fisheries conservation law, so this doesn't actually have anything to do with crypto, but it could actually affect crypto law because these are federal agencies as well, where a long-standing fisheries conservation law was interpreted to require fishing vessel owners to bear the cost of onboard monitors. Critics argued this is an arbitrary application of the rule, imposing unsustainable costs for smaller businesses. So the 1984 case, Chevron versus Natural Resources Defense Council, set the precedent of the Chevron deference, which significantly impacts many industries, including cryptocurrencies. So this is something that favors these government agencies. If we can get some of these reversed, then the SEC might lose some of this discretion they have over crypto. So what is the Chevron deference? This is from Cointelegraph. The U.S. Congress is not generally an expert on any topic, as it is a diverse set of people who rotate in and out of office. And that's a lot of the problem. A lot of these people don't really know about these rules and laws in the industry, and so they tend to make bad judgments. So Congress has delegated the enforcement of law to administrative agencies to help create a more focused and effective process to enforce laws. These agencies are responsible for administrating and enforcing laws passed in the legislative process. However, the Chevron case decided that federal agencies could enforce laws as long as the actions taken by the federal agency in carrying out the law were not unreasonable. So that gives the SEC a lot of power, but like many of the court cases against them have said their actions are unreasonable, and I agree with those court cases. Chevron deference allows for rational and reasonable interpretation, which I don't think the SEC has actually taken, by the agency that Congress has delegated to administer the law. However, many figures in the cryptocurrency space would argue the SEC's decrees on crypto have been far from rational and reasonable. So the SEC might be in trouble here, and they might take that power away from the SEC. Taking away the SEC's discretionary power would seriously cripple them. Removing or limiting the Chevron defense deference as a precedent means that people of the U.S. can better influence their elected officials to create clearer laws that impact sectors as digital assets. Obviously, like the reporting from Cointelegraph is biased towards the crypto view, but we're all in the crypto market, so I think we can understand what they're actually getting at. And Congress has not reached a consensus on digital assets, and there's several congressmen that have actually said this as well. So if they remove this precedent, it would affect other things as well. But it would definitely affect Gary Gensler and his and basically his ability to use his vast discretionary power when it comes to crypto. And that's exactly what we want. So Ripple's case does have a lasting impact on this because that basically said XRP was not a security on the secondary market. So, like they're kind of arguing that should apply, that could possibly apply for other cryptos as well. That's why the SEC really wanted to overturn the Ripple case really fast, because they know it's going to affect the other cases. And that obviously really affects how they apply for the Howey test. So more or less these two cases basically are to do with how much discretion a federal agency actually has, and the U.S. The U.S. Supreme Court might actually decide that that federal agencies don't have as much discretion as they used to, or they can break a precedent. And this Supreme Court is not shy for breaking precedents because they've done it already in Roe versus Wade. So I wouldn't be surprised if they ruled the other way on this as well. And if they ruled the other way on this as well, the SEC would just lose a lot of power, and it'd be very, very hard for Gary Gensler to go after crypto. So I'm kind of hoping that's what they do. I'm not really sure what applications or what influences this would have on other areas of the government, though. And we'll just have to see about that. But this would actually be good for crypto, taking the SEC's power away from them in terms of relating to crypto. In other news, there's millions in BTC and Monero that could have actually been stolen after a Darknet market exit scam. Now, I don't know if these people are going to be able to get this money back. It is, after all, a Darknet exit scam, and those things are very, very hard to get back. So basically, it's from this thing called Incognito Market. That already sounds kind of obviously sketchy, and that is a Darknet marketplace for neurotics trading. Has reportedly exit scammed its users for their BTC and XMR. So users of a major Darknet marketplace say they've been unable to withdraw Bitcoin and Monero as of Tuesday, March 5th, amid a growing fears of exit scam. Obviously, I'm not really sure if they can report this to the authorities because they're obviously using a Darknet market, so they could be completely screwed. And obviously they're trading narcotics, so they obviously don't want to report it to the government because, that's kind of illegal. Yeah, when you deal with illegal things, can't get help from the authorities, so if you get scammed, you might just be out of luck. Of course, you don't really want to scam people in these markets because they just might hire some thugs to go beat your ass. So, that's the danger of this Darknet market scam. But if you are hoping that people would, if you're dealing with someone dishonest and they cost you millions of dollars, not much you can do. You can go take the nuclear option and report everything to the authorities, but you might get implicated in it as well. So that's probably not what you want to do. So yeah, some people have already saying unfortunately, I can 100% confirm the exit scam now. So yeah, it's pretty ballsy to pull an exit scam on the Darknet neurotics market because those guys just might be drug lords and they just might want to pwn you. But if you're a small guy caught up in all of this, you might have just lost all your money. So yes, there was a possible scam for millions of dollars that just got scammed for BTC and XMR. And the XMR that's stolen, it's going to be hard to trace because you don't have the government agencies tracing this, obviously. And, XMR is really untraceable. And of course, you can't look to the federal agencies for help because you are dealing in neurotics and you obviously don't want the government involved. So this is one thing that's bad about the Darknet, folks. If you get scammed, you're probably kind of screwed. And of course, we have to talk about Terra founder Do Kwon. And he actually won an appeal against U.S. extradition, so he might not be coming to the U.S. after all. And of course, the latest overruling by the appellate court, they might have to go to the Supreme Court of Montenegro, marks another event in the long history of Kwon's extradition process. Do Kwon obviously does not want to get extradited, and he's fighting it with everything possible. And of course, it's unfolding in court. They're probably going to appeal again. And he's not coming to the United States. There are no clear and valid reasons for decisive facts regarding the order of arrival request letter, the panel stated in the announcement. So Kwon might be able to get away after all. So that's the news for today. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe. Hit that bell notifications button. Thank you and have a nice day.